My name is Armin Halim. I'm 29 years old. For as long as I can remember, my parents had a nickname for me, the Dumb One. Not as a joke, not teasing. No, they meant it. My older brother Zayon was the golden child, straight A's, debate team captain. Stanford acceptance letter framed in our living room before he even graduated. Meanwhile, I was the kid who barely passed math, who froze during presentations, who got labeled average by teachers who stopped trying after the first semester. But here's the part they never saw coming. On July 18th, 2025, in front of 200 people, in a glass-walled boardroom overlooking downtown Chicago, a single check worth $47 million proved every single one of them wrong. And by the time I was done speaking, my father wasn't the CEO anymore. I grew up in a house where achievement wasn't just expected, it was oxygen. If you had it, you mattered. If you didn't, you disappeared. My father, Cameron Halim, built Halim Logistics from one delivery truck in 1998 into a $120 million freight empire by 2024. Warehouses across 3 states. Contracts with Fortune 500 companies. His name carried weight in every room he walked into. And my mother? She managed the image, the dinners, the charity events, the perfect family narrative. Except, there was always a crack in that narrative. Me. I was diagnosed with ADHD at age 8. Couldn't sit still. Couldn't focus long enough to finish tests. My thoughts didn't move in straight lines. They jumped, collided, spiraled. But instead of support, I got labeled. At 10, during a parent-teacher meeting, I overheard my dad say something I never forgot. Some kids are just not built for success. He didn't even lower his voice. By 13, Zayn had private tutors, $150 an hour, 5 days a week. SH prep before high school. Summer programs at Ivy League campuses. Me? You need discipline, not help. That's what my mom said when I asked for tutoring. So I stopped asking. Every family gathering felt like a performance I wasn't cast in. Eid dinner, 2016. 20 relatives packed into our house. My father stood at the head of the table, glass raised. Zayan just got accepted into Stanford. Applause. Cheers. Phones out. My aunt hugged him like he'd cured cancer. Then my dad glanced at me. And our man, he paused, smiling thinly, is figuring things out. Laughter. Light. Casual. But it stuck. Because in that moment, I wasn't a person. I was a disclaimer. Under the table, my grandmother squeezed my hand. She didn't laugh. She never did. Her name was Naila Halim. She was the one person in my life who didn't measure intelligence by report cards. Your mind moves fast, she told me once when I was 15. Faster than theirs. That's why they don't understand it. I didn't believe her, but I wanted to. Every Sunday, I'd visit her small apartment above an old bookstore. No pressure, no comparisons, just tea and conversations. She didn't teach me from textbooks. She taught me how systems worked, how money flows, how businesses break, how people hide things in plain sight. She'd take real company reports, old ones from Halim Logistics, and break them down into diagrams, arrows, circles, patterns. You don't read words, she said. You read structures. And slowly, something started to click. Not in school, never there, but in real life. After graduating high school with barely passing grades, I didn't even apply to top universities. I enrolled in a local community college. My father didn't attend orientation. Zayn flew out to California that same week. Different worlds, same family. By 2021, I dropped out. Not because I couldn't handle the material, but because I couldn't handle being told again and again that I wasn't enough. So I did something no one expected. I got a job at my father's company. Entry level, warehouse floor, $15 an hour. Zayan? That same year, he joined as a strategic analyst at $180,000 a year. Same building, different universes. My job was simple. Scan packages, track shipments, fix labeling errors, no meetings, no voice. But I watched, I listened, and I started noticing things. Patterns, routes that didn't make sense, invoices that didn't match delivery logs, contracts that looked profitable, but weren't. At first, I thought I was overthinking. Then I started writing things down. Not in paragraphs, those always overwhelmed me, in diagrams, flowcharts, connections, and one night, everything changed. It was November 3rd, 2023. I was working a late shift when I noticed a shipment flagged as completed, but it had never left the warehouse. At first, I assumed it was a system glitch, but then I checked another. Same issue. Then another. By 2 a.m., I had found 17 shipments marked delivered. That didn't exist. Millions in revenue on paper. Nothing in reality. My heart started racing. Because this wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. And patterns don't lie. The next morning, I tried to bring it up. Big mistake. I walked into a management office. First time I'd ever done that. Explained what I found. Showed them my diagrams. The room went quiet. Then someone laughed. "Armin, you work in scanning." Another voice. "You probably misunderstood the system." And then, my father. He didn't even look at the papers. "Go back to your station." That was it. Dismissed. Again. That night, I almost threw everything away. All the notes, the diagrams. Because maybe they were right. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I was the dumb one. But then I remembered something my grandmother said. If everyone ignores what you see, look closer, not away. So I did what no one in that company expected me to do. I went deeper. Not into meetings, not into conversations, into the system itself. The next 3 nights, I stayed after my shift ended. Not clocked in, not paid. Just watching. Tracking shipment IDs. Cross-referencing delivery logs. Mapping routes on a notebook that was now filled edge to edge with arrows and circles and numbers only I could understand. And slowly, a picture started forming. Not random errors. A structure. A system inside the system. By November 6th, 2023, I had something solid. 72 fake shipments. $3.8 million in completed deliveries. That never happened. And here's the part that made my stomach drop. Every single one of those shipments was tied to one specific department. Corporate accounts. The division Zayon had just taken over. I didn't want to believe it. I actually sat there for 10 minutes, staring at the page, hoping I was wrong. Because if I wasn't, this wasn't just fraud. This was internal. Family. That night, I went home, opened my laptop, and for the first time ever, I opened the wooden box my grandmother gave me the year she passed away. I hadn't touched it in 2 years. Didn't feel ready. Didn't feel worthy. But now something in me was different. Inside, there were 3 things. A handwritten letter, a sealed legal document, and a USB drive. My hands were shaking as I picked up the letter. "My dear Armin," it began. "If you're reading this, it means you've started to see what others refuse to." I froze. She knew. Before any of this, she knew. "You were never the slow one," she wrote. "You were the only one paying attention." I had to stop reading for a second, because no one had ever said that to me before. Not once. I kept going. "There are things about this company your father doesn't want anyone to see. Not because he built it wrong, but because he allowed the wrong people to control it." My chest tightened. The document enclosed is the original ownership agreement from 1998. The one your father never shows anyone. I grabbed it. Flipped it open. Legal language. Dense. Complicated. But this time, I didn't read the words. I mapped the structure. And within seconds, I saw it. 51%. Not my father. Not Zayon. Not any investor. Her, my grandmother. And then the next line hit me like a punch. In the event of my death, Majority control transfers to the individual I deem most capable of protecting the company's integrity. There was a name written underneath, covered by a folded page, sealed. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Because I already knew, somehow, I already knew that name was mine. I reached for the USB drive next, plugged it into my laptop. One file. Board meeting recording 2022 MP4. I clicked it. And within 15 seconds, everything changed. It was a recording of a private executive meeting. My father, Zayan, and two senior directors, talking. Not about growth, not about strategy, about numbers. Fake numbers. We pushed the projections through Q4, Zayan was saying. No one audits internal shipments at that level. My father hesitated. This crosses a line. Zayan leaned back. The line moved the moment competitors started eating our contracts. This is survival. Silence. Then, my father nodded. I paused the video. My hands went cold. Because this wasn't just proof. This was a confession. And suddenly, everything made sense. The fake shipments, the inflated revenue, the missing inventory. It wasn't incompetence. It was deliberate. I sat there in the dark for a long time, thinking. Because now, I had two choices. Expose it and destroy my family, or stay silent and become exactly what they always said I was. Nothing. That's when I remembered the last line of my grandmother's letter. Truth is only powerful when it's used. Otherwise, it's just another secret. The next morning, November 7th, 2023, I made a decision. I called the one person in the company who still respected my grandmother, Farah Siddiqui, board member, early investor, and someone my father avoided at all costs. She picked up on the second ring. Arman, I need to show you something, I said. A pause. Then she replied, if this is what I think it is, you need to move fast. Why? I asked. Her answer sent a chill down my spine. Because there's already a board meeting scheduled for next week. She paused. And your brother plans to finalize something big. What kind of something? Silence. Then, a full control transfer. My grip tightened around the phone. How long do I have? 5 days. 5 days to prove everything, to stop them, to walk into a room where I had never been invited, and take everything back.